Hey everybody, this is Professor Diffley. This is Philosophy 255, Ethics in Social Work, Human Services. This is Chapter 10, Lecture Video 3. In this where we're going to pick up. Last time we just did misrepresentation at the end of Video 2 for Chapter 10. So let's talk about solicitation. This deals with how you go about your business, conducting your business. And trying to advertise and things like this. So what a big part here, Section A, you should not engage in uninvited solicitation of potential clients clients who, because of their circumstances, are vulnerable to undue influence, manipulation, or coercion. So what is this about? Well, one, let's just go through it. Uninvited solicitation is, right? They did not come to you for help. They didn't sign, they didn't send you an email. They didn't do anything. You're now actively going out and trying to find potential clients. And usually you're going to do it based on their circumstances here, right? And they're vulnerable to undue influence, manipulation, or coercion. Really, what you need to take away from this is you really shouldn't be going. I mean, there are advertisements for things like for drug rehabilitation, alcohol rehabilitation centers, but those are ads that are put out to the entire country. What we're talking about here is really targeting individuals. So like one case would be, so a hypothetical case would be a social worker, a therapist who works in substance abuse. So in order to get clients, they understand that they know that there's a wave of opiate addiction. Let's just use that as a hypothetical, right? Lots of people had been ODing. And so what this social worker was doing was waiting outside the emergency room at the local hospital and waiting for people to be admitted for overdose. And as they're coming out, or to their loved ones, they're handing out their cards saying, I know your loved one, or you are just overdosed here. I can help you because I run a substance abuse counseling. That would be wrong, right? You're going after these people. You're waiting outside for them. You're preying on them, right? They're vulnerable here, right? They're just coming out of this. They could they need help, right? So that's that would be the problem here. But you're looking after going for them. In that way. Another way would be, another example, say, a lot of newspapers, local newspapers, will print arrest records and things like that. The police blotters, they called them. And so what you're doing is, here's a social worker, you're a social worker. What you're doing is you're reviewing these cases and looking for potential clients. And you're then going out and taking that information and targeting those criminals or, people who had been arrested. And you're trying to get their business that way. That would be wrong, right? Because it's uninvited. You're preying upon them, that sort of thing. So yeah, no uninvited solicitations, right? That would even mean, just sitting out like, standing out in front of AA. There's an AA meeting at the local church, and you stand outside and you hand out brochures, right? You're waiting for a brochure, waiting for them to come out and go in. Handing brochures about one-on-one counseling for alcohol abuse, that sort of thing. Those would be cases of wrong solicitation, and you should avoid it altogether. Also, be careful about engaging in testimonials from your clients, right? From current clients or people who are vulnerable to undue influence. So what does this mean? If you have a client and you're actively working with them, you shouldn't try to begin testimonials that you could then put in advertising and things like that. Why not? Well, they're actively a client. They may believe that their participation to give a testimonial and endorsement is required for their services to continue, right? They also are not likely to be that honest. They're going to give you whatever you want because you're still actively helping them. And that's, what would make them, because they're of their circumstances, undue influence, right? They're going to say what you want them to say. So you really shouldn't be doing that, taking your clients and holding them up, saying, here, look, this is this is a example of me curing or helping someone. There's privacy issues involved with that. Sure, you can get the client, I guess, to waive and then put that out there that, they were seeing a social worker or a therapist and here's my problems. But again, is that truly voluntary consent? Because again, the client may think that they have to do this if they want their services to continue and for you to not be mad at them. So I would just avoid this. So don't solicit, right? Advertising is a tricky thing. I wouldn't be soliciting, but definitely don't be targeting individuals, sending letters to their home, handing out your business cards outside of emergency rooms or, AA meetings, that sort of thing. And again, don't get testimonials from your clients like that. I mean, you could. This only talks about, a solicitation of a current clients or others who are particular circumstances or vulnerable here. I would say don't do it. I guess technically you could get former clients after a while, but yeah, specifically avoid your current clients in this. So now let's move on to this. This is the last part here of the chapter, and this is really deals with, and you'll see this in code parts 2 and 4, but this deals with your responsibilities to colleagues and the profession. What's really important here is how you deal with your colleagues. And we're going to say it's covered in different ways of their, dealing with their incompetence or unethical behavior, things like that. There is a process that you have to go through that is, mentioned in the code, and this is just good practice. And we're going to go through it. It doesn't matter what the situation is, but we'll still look at the code section. Still going to go through the same process of how to deal with a coworker. Let's take a look at that there. So one. Treat your colleagues with respect, and that's the whole point, right? And when you say someone's a colleague, it's more than saying a coworker. There's nothing inherently wrong with saying someone's a coworker, but when you say a colleague, it means you're equals, right? That really does, that's what that signifies there. So, treat your colleagues with respect. That's what you would want, and represent accurately and fairly the qualifications, views, and obligations of colleagues. What it's saying here is that treat them with respect, be nice to them. You don't have to be friends, but, respect, right? Just be a professional. And don't go bad-mouthing them, right? Accurately and fairly represent them, right? You don't have to like someone personally, but you can recognize and know that they are good at their job and that sort of thing. So just, act with respect. Again, avoid unwarranted criticism, negative criticism of colleagues in any form, right? Verbal, written, or electronic with clients or with other professionals, right? So don't be bad-mouthing other social workers to your clients who they may have worked with, and don't be doing it to other professionals. One thing here, too, that comes out of this is if you go around bad-mouthing other colleagues and things like that, and you're always talking about how, you have problems with coworkers, and you've been in different places, or, you have problems with colleagues, and you've been in different agencies, and it's always, there's somebody, I have a problem with this person, I have a problem with that person. Well, you know what the common denominator in all of that is? Many people are going to believe it's you, right? The problem is you, not other people. And people will understand that. Again, these are, in any profession, they're relatively run in the same circles, right? So word gets around. Your reputation is really important. If you have a reputation for, bad-mouthing your coworkers or your clients or, anything like that, that's going to get around, and people are going to start to wonder, well, if they're saying that to me about this person, I wonder what they're saying about me when I'm not there, right? And that could really, really hurt you. So don't be a gossip. Don't be, unwarranted negative criticism. Really shouldn't be, it's going to sound personal. It's going to come off personal. It's going to hurt your reputation. Really, not something you should be doing. And this is just good advice in all of life, but very much so. It's covered in the code here. Should cooperate with social work colleagues and when cooperation serves the well-being of clients, right? So not only should you respect and work with and, not criticize, but you should work with your colleagues when they have that skill and ability to help your clients. Because remember, what it's all about is helping your clients and putting their interests first. And that's what you need to focus on. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead there. And that's what you need to focus on, is helping your clients. That is what respect is. And again, this is a section 2.01 is what covers respect. This is in part 2, which is social work social workers' ethical responsibility to colleagues. Respect is 2.01, subsection A, B, and C. So now let's look at more of this here. Confidentiality, 2.02. Respect confidential information shared by colleagues, right? So this is we looked at confidentiality before when you have just relating to the client you're working with here. But if your colleague shares information with you, in the course of their professional relationship and transactions, this is maybe they're seeking your help, you're collaborating, that sort of thing. You need to ensure the confidentiality, right? Even though it's not your client, it's still the information. You need to keep your colleagues' information confidential, right? And so this is the same. Even though the information's just the same as you need to keep the confidentiality for your individual client, you need to do it here too when you're getting information from colleagues about someone else, right? So always keep confidentiality is the goal, right? Obviously, we've talked about there are examples and instances where you can break confidentiality, but the goal is in most cases to keep it there. And again, so now dealing with disputes involving colleagues, and you're going to see this in 2.04. Don't take advantage of a dispute between a colleague and an employer to obtain a position. And advance your own interest. What this is saying is, don't backstab your colleagues and coworkers, right? Don't play sides here, right? You want somebody's job. You're both up for a promotion. So what you do is you start bad-mouthing or, your colleague, the person you're competing against, that sort of thing. You're playing or you're making them driving a wedge between the boss and your supervisor and the colleague of yours who is up for the same position. Just don't be doing that, right? Again, that's not what this is about. And that's just good practice everywhere. You don't want to be stabbed in the back. You shouldn't be doing this to your colleagues or throwing them under the bus either. And again, don't exploit clients either, right, with colleagues. Or don't, and what does this mean? Remember I said don't be bad-mouthing in the last one. One or two before, don't be bad-mouthing coworkers, colleagues to your clients, right? So don't be getting in clients' ears and trying to engage clients, to engage in conflicts with others, right? Really just leave the clients out of there. Don't be bringing your dislike or, personal issues with coworkers. Colleagues, you shouldn't be bringing that into the helping relationship with your clients there. Don't get them in the middle. Don't play them off against each other. Don't, that sort of thing. Be a professional, a good person and a professional is really what most of this is saying there. Consultations, again, this is about competence too, you can connect this to that competence. So if you have an issue about your competence or the social worker's competence, so if you see this in a ethical scenario and you talk about they don't have competence, well, one thing you in a specific field you should say, well, according to 2.05, they should consult and advice and counsel of colleagues when it's in the best interest of clients, right? So you don't have the skills to help your client fully, but you can get help from your colleagues and they can help you and collaborate with you there. And this also goes with ethical concerns as well. Again, so how do you do this? You need to know what your colleagues' expertise and competencies are, right? So you should know who to go to, right? Go for the help, to get help from the right people. And that's part of just being competent and being good at your job. You can't be an expert at everything. You're going to rely on others, and the best people, those who do this the best are the ones that realize and recognize their weaknesses and reach out to people that they know have other skills that complement them. And that's a great way to work together, right? And so you need to know about your colleagues' abilities so that you help the clients as well. And again, when you're doing this, this is again about confidentiality. When you consult with a colleague, you only give the least amount of information necessary, right? And so to achieve the consultation, right? So that would, you don't need to give them the full background and spill all of their history, just what's relevant for whatever question you are seeking help with there. And so, and that's a common standard, right? Whenever you're giving information out about a client and you have their informed consent to do it, you give the least information necessary. And that's just a good standard and a good practice in life. Don't go around answering questions that weren't asked. Is a good way to look at this. All right, we will pick up in lecture video 4 on the next slide here.